What's up, guys? Got a quick little project, some Raptor flares that are going matte black. Hardly ever get to do any matte, any big pieces at least. Most matte you get to do nowadays are like small little trim pieces. So this is kind of like a more fun project, kind of more different. So I'll just show you how to do it. Let's get to it. I like scuffing my new plastic pieces with red Scotch-Brite. You can use red Scotch-Brite for all new plastic pieces unless it's raw. Most raw plastics are like Kias, Toyotas, Subarus, and sometimes small little pieces like side view mirrors from like GM and Ford and whatnot. But raw plastic is really impressionable and really soft, so you gotta go easier with it, and I got plenty of videos showing you how to prep raw plastic, so you can check those out, and I'll probably do a couple more in the future. Alrighty, we got this joker all dulled out. You don't gotta go too crazy with it. Like I said, it's just scuff it up and turn it gray with the red Scotch-Brite. Happens pretty quickly and pretty easily. Helpful hint, if you can't tell if a part is raw plastic or primed or not, when you just scuff a small part that is not visibly shown, and if it leaves any type of primer or dust or anything, that means that you can scuff it with a red Scotch-Brite. If you scuff it and nothing comes off, that means it's raw plastic, and then you should waterborne cleaner and scuff paste it in a gray Scotch-Brite. But like I said, that's a whole nother video, and then I'll probably upload more of those, and I got a few of those uploaded as well, so you can check them out. But for this flare, since it's completely done and scuffed, we're gonna blow it off. Remember, always blow off the back sides of your projects too. Now I like to blow off the arms on the stands too, especially the ones that are extending to the project. But since blowing it off is done, we're gonna go ahead and wipe it down with some wax and grease remover. So I wanna wipe it down with wax and grease remover, but in order to do that, we need to test a small spot because sometimes the wax and grease remover can melt the primer off. This smudge is pretty light, which means it's just the dust from me Scotch-Brite in it, but you'll be able to tell the primer's coming off when you wipe it. It'll be like a really black smudge, but these look like they can handle the wax and grease remover. So we're gonna go ahead and put it on there. Then we're gonna grab that microfiber rag and wipe it down. You gotta make sure you do this step or you will get fish eyes when you paint plastic. And like I said, you just wanna double check that that plastic is not raw, because then it would need adhesion promoter and a different method to prepare it for paint. And then also to remember to check to see if the wax and grease remover is compatible with the primer that is on the product. So now we got this all blown off and wiped down, we can put it in the booth and we can get ready to mix in the color and some matte clear. Alrighty, now we got it in the booth, and normally I hit it with like window cleaner before I bring it in here, but since this job is just so small, wax and grease remover and then the waterborne cleaner would be more than enough. So I like to do waterborne cleaner in the booth, like I always say, and I like using microfiber rags because they are more clean than the basically lint-free rags that most people get or most people have. So I like to do one rag wet, one rag dry with a wipe on, wipe off process. That's just to ensure I don't leave any extra waterborne cleaner on there, just to find it later when I paint. Give it a quick wipe. Make sure we get every spot really well. Make sure there's no dust, dirt, or debris on there. Especially with matte paint jobs, because if there's any dirt, you can't polish it or it'll become shiny again, defeating the purpose of it being matte. But with it also being matte, it has to be quite a bit of dirt for you to notice it. So if you take these precautionary steps, you just won't have that problem at all. I don't think I've ever had to redo a matte piece because of too much dirt, but I've seen it done before. I prefer not to let the waterborne dry because sometimes it can leave a residue. Not particular in Spies Hector, but I've worked with other lines that it could leave a residue. And then with Spies Hector, you could also see your white marks if you like let it evaporate, especially like when it's real humid. It takes forever to evaporate, and then like let's say this white, and let me come down there. So let's say it's like real humid and like that white mark right there. Once that evaporates, when you go to paint it, it's really weird, but you'll see those lines. So it's better just to wipe on, wipe off, to be proactive and not reactive. We're gonna grab a tack rag. The tack rag is for any dust particles. And the waterborne is mainly for like any sweat or any contaminants. So you want to make sure you do both if possible. Mainly, you have to do the waterborne cleaner at least, or like maybe like a soapy water. And a tack rack just helps keep your project that much nicer. Just give it a quick wipe. All that excess dust. Helpful hint, hit the backside, wipe the back sides of these flares a little bit if they're dusty. These are really, really dusty. Our anti-static gun, lastly, because wiping this down and scuffing it creates a static charge, especially on plastic bumpers. So you want to make sure you get that off. And then also do the back sides. For sealer, I got my Cytojet 5500 1.3. We're using a Spies Hector 5650 waterborne sealer. And I also want to make sure I shout out my lumaIII lab coat as well. So when I have small projects like this, I don't have to put on my whole entire suit, especially when it gets really, really hot. I can just put on something small like this to keep my project clean and to keep the paint off of me. All right, the sealer's all dehydrated, so we're gonna hit it with our anti-static gun one more time, and then we're gonna throw on the black base. For our base coat, we'll use the lumaIII Exodus. This is their 1.3 OP tip. We have their Sun Pro light, and we also have the lumaIII hose hanger and their air hose with high flow fittings. So everything pretty much is lumaIII. Make sure you check them out if you haven't, or if you're looking for a new paint setup. This is Spies Hector hi-tec, so we'll spray this at 26 PSI. We'll give it 2 coats wet on wet since this is Spies Hector, and we'll call it good. Now that we got our 2 coats wet on wet, we'll let that dehydrate. We'll come back with our spotlight sunlight, and then we'll check our coverage and make sure everything is good. Then we should be ready for the matte clear. And then before clear coat, I like using these Centaura tack rags, these green ones. You just kind of pull them apart to activate them. I'll give my project a quick wipe down just to make sure everything is all good. There's no extra dust or debris on it. When I'm done with that, I'm gonna jump straight back to my anti-static gun. Alrighty, we're pretty much done. It's dehydrated. For clear coat, we're using 8600 with the matte additive, and then we're using our lumaIII Exodus 1.5 tip and our Sun Pro light. Appreciate you for watching. If you made it this far, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll go 2 coats wet on wet, no flash, and we'll be done.